Dodge Viper, Mazda RX-7, and the Lancer Evolution. Today, on Idealist, we're coming at you with 15 cars that we want. No, we need to make a comeback. From design icons like the Volkswagen Corrado to what just might be the greatest sports car of all time, the Honda S2000. Let's go. Starting with a car, or really just a machine that was cut in its prime, the Dodge Viper. Now, I totally get why it was canceled. I mean, don't get me wrong, no one was buying them. Still, now that the Corvette way upped its game by switching to a mid-engine platform, plus the flat-plane V8 in the Z06, there's really nothing from America to make them humble again, which is what the Viper was really, really good at. And what I would love to see in a new Viper is if they took the handling and aero from the final ACR and then combined it with the disgusting amounts of power that Dodge is getting out of that Hellcat motor. I mean, wouldn't that be amazing? And while we're speaking about amazing engines, let's talk about Volkswagen and give us a new Corrado. Okay, just picture this, a Golf GTI with all that speed and handling of the iconic platform, but it actually looks fast instead of like a grocery getter. That's what the Corrado was. And in addition to a made-up word, it was a GTI that actually looked like, well, a sports car. And it introduced to the world an awesome VR6, which is compact without sacrificing performance. I don't know, I didn't pay attention. I was too busy dreaming about a new Lancer Evo. I have been ever since I saw the WRX reveal where it's like, man, Subaru, you really need someone competing against you. It's kind of like when your super athletic friend gets out of college, but they're still eating the same calories. You see them and you're like, dude, I'm low-key kind of worried about you. That's how I feel about Subaru. They were at their peak fighting for WRC titles with Mitsubishi, and we need that in our modern world. Give us a new Lancer Evo. I have the internet. I know you didn't cancel the Lancer in every market. You can slap a turbo on it and bring it stateside. At least the Lancer's had its time in the spotlight. Some of the cars on this list need redemption, like the Plymouth Prowler. It is such a cool looking car. I mean, in my opinion, I think they are a masterclass in how to retro right. Except for one problem, the drivetrain. I'm talking auto-tragic, anemic, powerless, destroyed by a damn Miata V6 Snorathon. Make it again, but this time, use Chrysler's gigantic catalog of amazing engines and make a modern small block hot rod. That would be ideal. And while we're on the retro kick, you know what the world needs? Another Buick. Now, some say that I put the ick in Buick because I like Buicks. Make a Buick? Said no one ever, because modern Buicks is, well, they're sad as f. But it wasn't really always that way. They used to make the Grand National GNX, a turbocharged V6 muscle car that proved you don't need a massive V8 to burn some rubber. And they need to again, so that people might start taking them seriously in this day and age. Picture it, GM is getting absolutely mind-blowing power numbers. I'm talking near 500 horses out of their twin-turbo V6 that's already in the Cadillac ATS. You take that same engine, pluck it out, make a bare-bones Buick basic box to stick it in, and let us have an alternative to the Challenger. I mean, wouldn't that be rad? And while we're talking about turbochargers, Honda, are you listening? We need a rear wheel drive, and I think that requires a new S2000. I don't even think you have to do anything other than revive the exact same body. Just make sure it has the Type R K20C1 engine, and you'd probably have the greatest four-banger ever built. Seriously, the only thing that holds the Civic Type R back is that it's front-wheel drive and has 4 doors and 4 seats. That's great if you want a fast, practical car, but I just want to eat Miatas for lunch. And what do you think they taste like? Can you get the RX-7 in like nacho or Cool Ranch? Anyway, yeah, 306 horsepower S2000 on modern suspension. I feel like you'd have the GT3 RS right in your sights, and it's about time to prove you can still do it. Speaking of doing something just to prove something, the Bronco is cool. The Lamborghini LM002 was cooler. And this is what OJ should have used instead of the Bronco to run away from the cops. that was made by the same people that made the Mira, and it was badass. Now, they have the, what is that thing? A Urus? Just take the same 641 horsepower engine, steal the four-wheel drive system from the Atlas, and build, well, a tank around it. Easy peasy, give the TRX and Raptor junkies something to dream about. And while we're being weird, have you guys ever heard of the Mitsubishi Starion? Because, well, I want one. Theoretically named after Arion, a mythical horse that was super fast, was Mitsubishi's attempt to join the other JDM heroes. It's a rear-wheel drive 80s sports car that sat right next to the 300ZX, the Mark III Supra, and the FC RX-7. Except, for some reason, Mitsubishi just stopped wanting to make a sports car and killed the Starion name in 1989. Now, Mitsubishi is a company no one thinks about, unless they're complaining about a serious lack of Lancer evolution. But I think that if they would have made the Starion and it could compete with the EcoBoost Mustang, you know, horse versus horse, it would be a great entry-level enthusiast car that JDM bros could fall in love with. And on that note, I have one for Reddit. Honda Accord Wagon. This one is super simple. No one is making wagons. So that's the first plus. Second, the new turbocharged Accord is proper fast. With the 6-speed manual transmission, which you can still get new, you're looking at a sub 6-second 0 to 60 time. So all the foundation is already laid. Honda just needs to, well, elongate it a bit. Wagons, well, they're awesome. The internet is right, etc. Honestly though, if I were reviving Hondas, there's one I'd have over the Accord wagon, and it's called the Prelude. Here's the thing though, the Prelude was canceled because there were almost no differences between it and the more popular two-door Honda Accord. They were both fun, low-slung coupes that really leaned into the whole VTEC fast thing. Honda loved to use it to test weird things, like all-wheel drive steering. That drive to be experimental is what I really want from a new Prelude. Give me a low, highly stylized coupe with like 4 electric hub motors that can all pivot independently. I want it to crab walk like the Rivian, but I want to look great doing it. And fair warning, I'm totally into the electric Prelude, and it's actually one of the 2 cars on this list that I think make a perfect platform for electric motors. The second one is the Toyota Tercel, but not just any Tercel, no. I want it to be an all-wheel drive off-road hatchback, like a Crosstrek, but without buying a whoa, a little puppy in a closet full of Patagonia. Hey Chubbs, say hi to everybody on YouTube. Chubbs is the new mascot of Ideal. Are you on down? Okay. Wah! Something cheap, unstoppable, and just big enough for YouTube girlfriend and me to load the bikes, the dog, and hit the trails. Bonus points if Toyota leaves it totally ugly and square. Enough about electrics though. The next one needs no segue because it's the Mazda RX-7. And no, before you ask, the RX-8, it doesn't count. I really want Mazda to do one last rotary. Make a rotary using all the things we've learned over the last 20 years and make it a stunning, brilliant last stand against the electric revolution. Make the 787 look slow. Make Rob's 4-rotor sound quiet. Make me really weep for the future. And I know, it's doable. All right, next on the list, I have a proposal for Ford, the Maverick. It's a truck that bridges the gap between people who just want a practical crossover and want a truck bed. But Ford, you already did that, and it was called the Ranchero. So here's what I'm thinking. You take the Maverick and you bring back the Ranchero name as a trim, like the Raptor trim, because that's what the Ranchero was supposed to be, right? It was a muscle car, sure. It was a tiny truck, but mostly it was a relatively light car with a lot of horsepower. There was the F-150 Lightning, but that's a big truck and not very much fun on the city streets. An SVT Maverick Ranchero? Pff, wow. You could drive to get hay on Thursday and hit the track on Friday. We have what I think could be the greatest redemption arc in the history of Hollywood. Corvair? Let's take everything that you've learned about the mid-engine Corvette and make, well, a baby Corvette. Something that's like the price and power of a Camaro V6, but has the same driving dynamics as a mid-engine sports car. That's your thing, Chevy. You're supposed to be the way that every man can experience cars to their fullest. And most people have never driven a competent mid-rear engine car. And while we're on the subject of cheap, competent cars, I have one more that we need to make for the modern world. It's something to compete directly with Toyota 86s and Mazda Miatas. It is, of course, the Nissan Nissan Silvia, which our good friend Jack Ultramotive just picked up an S13, and I think it needs to make a comeback. Statesides, we didn't even get the best Silvias. The S13s and S14s we got had the wrong engine. Not bad, just not the one everyone in Japan was using to its fullest. And they never sent over the beautiful S15. What made the Silvia amazing is that it's a platform that's infinitely customizable. You didn't need a special company to work out all the details of an engine swap or to spend years developing ways to reinforce the frame. The engine bay was just big enough to just do it, and the chassis was already ready to race. So when Nissan unveiled the new Z, I got super excited because it seems like they're really listening to enthusiasts. It's rear-wheel drive, comes with a 6-speed, and looks stunning. They could, if they wanted to, make a really great entry-level enthusiast car. And rumor is they're developing an S16. We'll let you know as soon as we know. Otherwise, that's the list. If you caught the Shakespeare reference, let me know in the comments below. Or more importantly, let me know which car you want them to bring back. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new, turn on that notification bell. I'm Brad Danger, this is Ideal Cars, and promise me one thing, say it with me, keep living the ideal lifestyle.